Hi, welcome to a new episode of Quarto. Today with not just a coach but also a friend, Miguel Miranda, one of the best top tier players slash coaches slash. No, I'm joking. No, a great coach, great friend, also was a great player. But today we are here to talk about a team offense, how to create a team offense, how to create a playbook. Miguel, first of all, thanks to for you to be here to talk with me to share your experience and most of all to gain some knowledge from you.
First of all, Vasco, thanks for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to help you on these things that you do, and I give a lot of credit to all of these things that you do related to basket. I'm just gonna try to explain you, and I want to say this clear from the beginning. My idea is not the right idea or the best idea. It's my idea. It's the way I do the things. And one thing that I learned to understand along the years is every coaches are correct. Okay, if it works in your way, you have the reason. So I don't judge what other people do. So just want to say from the beginning that it's my idea, not the best idea for sure. For sure, it's not. But it's the way I do the things related to how to build a office or a system or a spacing. How do you guys want to call it?
Of course, then like you said is very subjective and every coach has a different idea and a different way to play, but also is correlated with your experiences as a player or even not in your life, but a lot of people didn't have the same way that you have as a player and had as an assistant coach. So everyone takes a little bit from everyone. But let's go from there. Professional player in Portugal, team captain of the national team. Walk us through a little bit of your professional life as a player before becoming a coach.
Okay, I started playing basketball as a professional with 17 years old in FC Porto. I had lucky because I arrived to a team that on those years, 1996, 97, 95, I think, team was one of the best teams in Portuguese league, play European competitions. So it was a very, very, very good team with a lot of talent, a lot of young Portuguese, older than me, but still young Portuguese player arriving to the league with a great coach, Jorge Araújo, Professor Jorge Araújo. So I had lucky because I arrived to the ideal scenario for me to develop as a player, and with 19 years old, I already had won everything in the Portuguese Championship League, Super Cup, Portuguese Cup, League Cup, and I already played in the European competition, so I have the contact with the international basketball. But I wasn't playing much, so for me to give the next step, I need to move to another team. I went to Queluz in Lisbon, a small team. I stayed there for 6 years, but I accomplished my goal, that was playing more and more minutes. I stayed there 6 years. We end up winning the championship on my 5th year there, and the Portuguese Cup and the Super Cup. Then I went from Queluz to Overens. That was the national championship, the last season that I played in Queluz. I stayed there in Overens 4 years. We won the championship 2 years in a row, and the Super Cup. After 4 years in Ovar, I get back to Porto. 2 more years in Porto, and we won the championship again and everything: Portuguese Cup, Super Cup, League Cup. Then I went back to Overens, for more 4 years, and I end up my career in Porto again, the team from my hometown. 2 more years. It was the last 2 years of my career, and I can tell you that got a guy. I'm a guy with luck because I finished with my career with 39 years old, playing
Mm-hmm.
the finals that we lost against Oliveirense, and playing the FIBA Euro Cup. So for me, it was a very
Yeah,
good at finishing high level.
yeah. In between of all this, you also had the national team. You also had two Euro baskets. So for you, or because I know that you start to do the coaching courses through your career, during your career, what was that moment that you said, okay, my player career will finish one day, and I really want to be a coach? It was you personally that you already liked to be a coach, or it was some coach that you had that told you, Miguel, if you want to, you can be a good coach also?
No, I already, of course, not on the beginning. We don't think players, we don't think about that. But through the
Mm-hmm.
middle of my career, 25, 26, 27, by the time we went to the first European Championship with the national team, uh, I already like to learn to know how we do stuff and why we do stuff, and try to give some feedbacks and some helps to the coach, saying that, hey, in this play I feel like my men do this, or they on this defense I feel. So it was a feeling that to grow through my career,
Mm-hmm.
to a point that on the last years of my career, I have a lot of coach. I have that luck too. I work with coaches that understand the player's perspective. So I have coaches that already ask uh, a lot of my feedbacks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a thing that shows naturally. It happens naturally, and it was. I knew soon I stopped playing that it was the next step that I want to give.
And you started your coaching career, and we are going through that after. But before we start in your coaching career, you you get in Gaia. We find ourselves together in Gaia, and when you got there, for you, what were like your two or three key ideas or key principles that you came with from playing professional, or that you get from playing with Moncho, playing with Jorge Araújo, playing in the national team? What was two or three key ideas that you said, okay, I'm going with this also to my coaching career?
Uh, Details.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, details are very important. Um, Sell your idea to the players. If the players don't buy what you are selling, you're not a good coach, because they're not
Mm-hmm.
gonna believe it. And the third idea when I arrived to Gaia, it was work as professional as let's put it this way. I want those players that were from the last division of the Portuguese country to work as professionals as they could work. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't in a professional environment because people study, work jobs, and all of that. But I try to give them um, the most professional practice that I could give to them in that situation. I want them to pass and to feel how it was to be a professional. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, and you know that, I think because coaches tend to relax when they are coaching players on the last division. And for me, it's a mistake. I don't want to be that kind of coach. And what happened was, and you can tell me and you can tell me, and I can tell you, because after Gaia, I coach another team in the last division in Portugal, and the same thing happened. We start the season with 15 players, and we end up the season with 19 players.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, instead
Yes.
of losing players, that's normally what happened in those teams during the season. We had players.
Yes, of
So
course,
for me,
of course, adding professionalism helps, and because they are players that are not professionals, they call their friends, they call a friend that is playing on the other team, or even we had some guys in guy that hadn't even playing for the last 2 or 3 years and come back. So that's true what you say. Like treating them like professionals can be a little bit hard at the beginning, but goes a long way at the end. But I know that guys that work with you and play for you know that you have a unique perspective of basketball, a different way of thinking, seeing, playing basketball, full of little tricks, little spacing tricks, little, like you said, details, simplifying things. Um, that came from you, from watching, playing, studying. What gave you this, let's put it, unique way of working and simplifying basketball? What gave you that idea that it should be done like that? It was your playing time. It was now that basketball is more modern and more uh, fast. What was your way of thinking on that?
It was my playing time for sure, the time that I spent inside of the floor, and things that I could see that sometimes it's not no one else, but sometimes almost the only one that can see it. It was thinking, finishing a game, watching a game after the game, and think what we can do better, what we can do to improve, why we did this way and we didn't that way. You know, I'm a guy that like to after. I was a guy when I was playing, like after every practice or after every game, I went home and I take a lot of time to think what I did, what the team did, what we can improve, what I did, what I can improve to help the team. You know, and for sure it was by working with coaches from different countries, coaches that see different basketball, coaches that have contact in those European championships, Lithuania and Spain, with another
Hmm.
realities that you can see pieces of practice, arriving. You can see how different coaches communicate. Having all of those experience, I think that all of that together mold me to be the coach that I try to be today.
Yeah, for me, that's two key points that you talk about here. First is feedback, self feedback, or self seeing. I don't know how to put it, but after you said after every game or after every practice as a player, you used to think what you can do better. Even I don't know if you write it or not, but maybe yes, you could write it. So I can do this, I can do that, and it translates after coach. So for me, that's one of the most important skills that you have as a coach or as a teacher. You have to always get yourself some feedback of what went wrong, what went well, to get the machine rolling. And the second one that you said, and for me also is very important, is being curious and try to take as much as possible from others' perspective, like you said, Lithuanian, Spanish, whatever the case may be. You take experience from them, and it leads you to what you are today. And when you're talking about approaching basketball, approaching a new season, approaching a new team, like likely know, in Portugal is very normal. Not the first three teams, but all the teams, that you change Americans and foreigners every year. So, um, how do you approach a new season in terms of playbook, in terms of team offense, just to get in our subject? How do you approach it? Do you try to maintain your ideas and try to create a culture within the club with your ideas, or you have to adapt yourselves and change every year because of the players that you may have or you may haven't?
You always have to adapt and to change, sometimes a little bit, sometimes a lot. The only thing I try to maintain, because it's a thing that I like and I think it's a thing that I think it works. It's good spacing.
Hmm.
Okay, if a team have a good spacing, you can play with one inside player and four players out, two inside players, three players out, five players out. Um, Everything goes and everything can work if you have a good spacing. if everybody knows what to do inside of the floor, if everybody knows what to do when somebody penetrates to the basket, if everybody knows what to do when a ball goes inside to one of the bigs when you play with two, or to the big when we're playing with only one, or when the ball goes to the big when you're playing with five out. You know, everything can work if you have a good spacing. So I spend a lot of time on the beginning of the season to create that spacing with the players, and explaining where they have to go and how they have to move, um, for them to be in a good spot in all of the moments of the of the office. After that, if you have a good spacing, you can have a good idea of how you want to play in offense. Okay, and then what I do is I customize my set plays. I adjust. I invent new set plays. I copy a lot of set plays, but I always customize to my players. Imagine I want to play with. I want a set play to post up my point guard, but I have two bigs that are playing that they cannot pass the ball. Okay, so I need to find a way in my set play that the ball is going to be passed from the other wing, or else we're going to have problems. Okay, so for me, the thing is adjust and customize the set plays to the players that you can get. Why? Because there are two kinds of coaches: EuroLeague level, okay, Pablo Lazo, Bradovic, Sarunas, those coaches that have their, or not, but at least is how I think, have their set plays, and they go and they start thinking, okay, I need for this set play, I need a five man
Yes.
that can shoot 3-point shots and drive to the basket, and they go to the market and they sign him. Okay, here in a low budget team as I am in Portugal that don't play European competitions, you cannot go like that. Okay, you have an idea of a five man that you have, but after that, for the money that you have, you cannot hire him. So you just hired a five man that cannot shoot. Related to the example that I was giving, a guy cannot shoot, but he only drive. Okay, so you need to design and customize that place for a five man that cannot shoot.
So,
Okay.
so my question is, because that was my next question. You either fit your players into your into your playbook, or you fit your playbook into your players.
I feed my playbooks to my players.
So
I
it's
adjust my playbook, okay, to the players that I have. I'm going to give you an example. Last season, I have a five man that can shoot. We have a lot of set plays that end up with him open to shoot the ball. And the year before, Eric Coleman. It was a good shooter from 3-point shots. This season, I don't have a five man that can shoot. So those options on the set plays are not there anymore.
but
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I can. I'm gonna try to explain you. Imagine my let's say three, because we don't have it yet, so I can talk about three because nobody's gonna do the scout. Set play three. Imagine my set play three. Set play three. It can be a set play three. Okay, let's talk hypothetically. Okay, set play three can be a it can be a set play for staggered for shooters. Okay, but I'm gonna try to explain the way I think. But inside of the set play three, if we call it three down, we transform that spacing in the play for our big man. Okay, if we call it three side, we transform it to the set play to play with a four man facing the basket. And we go from there. We can have three Pishka, three voltage, and I'm not going to say all of the signs, or else I'm facilitating the to the other guys. But I think like that. For me, a set play always have to have main option, ball inside option, shooter option, four man option, three man playing small option. You know, all from the same spacing. And then we go for the set play two. It's another different spacing. Imagine four out, one in. All of the set play two have all of those options too.
But
You know?
that's a good way of thinking, because now my question becomes, for you as a coach and what you've learned as a player, and now talking with the new players of this generation, it's better to have a ton of set plays with less variations in terms of scouting. Is more difficult for the teams to scout, because that's a lot of spacings, different spacing, different pick and roll space, different everything. Or like you said, have less entries, but within every initial entry you have like 4, 5, 6 set plays that you can go through. I know your answer, but for you, in this new wave of modern basketball, what is the most impactful way of coaching?
Vasco, you know that my answer is both of them. A lot of set plays and set plays with a lot of entries. But it depends on which basketball IQ level of players are you talking. You need to adjust. That's what I can tell you. You need to adjust, and you always adjust to the lowest IQ basketball player that you have in your team.
So you adjust your ideas and your concepts to the least intelligent guy in your team,
Of course,
so
because
everyone
in
can
five,
have
imagine
okay.
five men. In five players, I got four. I got four very intelligent guys and one guy that only understand the minimum. If you demand the a lot of set plays, a lot of entries, and you always have one guy breaking the spacing, messing up the play, you know, you are putting the other. You are I don't know the word prejudicar.
But getting less of getting less of the
You are
others.
getting less of the other four. Okay, because you always have one guy that are messing everything.
No,
He's
that's
going to the different spacing, breaking up the space. So it's better to have, okay, what he can do. He's an important player and you're going to play what he can do well. Four things. Okay, you're going to do these four things, but you're going to do these four things to the maximum and to the to the to the how do you say to the max that they can do.
okay. And this gets me to another question we talked a lot, and because in every year you have a guy that can play from one-on-one situation, he can create a lot of shots. Where do you balance the within the set plays? You balance the individual skills, like you said. You have to try to make a set play adjusted to the skills that your player has within the flow of the offense. So how do you manage that? How do you balance that as a coach?
It's not hard for me because it's not hard for me because I'm a coach that play with advantage, and I have that established from the beginning. If we have an advantage, and if that means that you Vasco have advantage, and you're gonna play 10 times one against one, you're gonna play 10 times one against one. So I have that thing very established from the beginning of the season. I always like and I want to have in my team one guy that can play one on one. Okay, with no peaks, nothing. One on one, straight one on one player, vertical, finish in the rim, can shoot. And when team realize that he's going to be our guy, because that thing happens very fast, they have no problems with that. And for me, how to balance, it's easy. If he's scoring, we keep passing the ball. If he's missing, we do another thing. It's not hard.
Yeah, if you put it in that way, it's easier. No, it's easy.
Yes.
But now that you talk about that, and that's one thing that I really want to talk with you, and I like to talk with you every time. That's playing through advantages. Um, and when we talk about playing through advantages, it can be playing a direct mismatch, like you said. If I can play 10 times 1v1, we attack him, or after advantage is created, or even a miscommunication on defense, or after a pick is some a switch happens. Do you have your set plays designed to create those mismatches, or you have your spacing designed to, if those mismatches occur, you are ready to attack them right away? Both.
That questions make me
Oh, okay, okay,
make
okay.
me make me think that you have inside informations
No.
about my. No, of course there are some mismatches that happen naturally because of a
Mm-hmm.
switch or a bad switch or a player that forget or something like that. But the most important thing is every time when that mismatch is created. So when is a mismatch, you have an inside mismatch and outside mismatch. Okay, when that mismatch is created and is identified by the players, we have a code that we call. And if we want to attack the outside mismatch, we have a spacing specific for the outside mismatching. Mismatch is not one, it's two spacing. Because imagine it's a guy that can play the it's a guy that imagine it's a guy he is a guy that can play the mismatch. He's gonna have one spacing, and if he's a guy that he cannot create from the mismatch, we have another spacing for to help him. Okay, and with the inside mismatch, it's the same. If we have a spacing specific, two spacings for inside mismatch that everybody knows, and everybody's going to be on the same page.
And now that you're talking about creating, attacking, how do you present? You told before that your team understands what they want to do really early on the season. It has to. If the season is starting and you have your team uh, there with you, how do you present your offense to the team? How do you, like, what's the first impression you give to the team in regarding of your playbook, your team offense for the season? What are the steps that you take as a coach to have the most of it?
First of all, I explain them what we call our team spacing. Okay, our transition and our team spacing is gonna that is like it's like our basic game. Okay, it's a play that is not a play. We use it as a transition that can help the players. Imagine you have the ball in your hands and you don't know what to do. You get inside of that basic game and you resolve all of the problems. Because imagine one thing, and I can, and why I do that, because that's what I felt as a player. I was coached by coaches that we play. Imagine the set play fist. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
fist side pick and roll between 1 and 5, two men in that corner, three men in the other corner, and a four-man on facing the ball. You know,
Mm-hmm.
normal fist that every team plays, and 1 and 5 play the pick and roll, 5 roll. There's no pass to 5, and ball goes to 4. Okay, 4 men. 4 men receive the ball, and you don't have pass inside, and he cannot shoot. So what do you do next?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I asked a lot of coaches, and now what I do, because I wasn't a one-on-one player facing the basket, so I need something to get out of that situation. Okay, now you shoot the ball. Okay, but I don't have space to shoot. Oh, now you drive to the basket. My defender is quicker than me. Hey man, now you pass the ball back to the point guard and we play another pick and roll. And because I don't want my players to feel that, my foreman knows that if he cannot pass the ball inside, if he cannot drive, if he cannot shoot, and this is just an example, he have two options always: end off with a corner, end off with a middle. And after he choose option A or option B, everybody, all of the four players know what is the next step and what is the
Mm-hmm.
next step and what is the next step. So I always start with the basic game. Okay, it's one basic game that I took, that I learned and I started using 2 years ago from a American coach that coach in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
It was about I have a contact with I spent some time in a camp in Italy with Ryan Pagnoni, a coach from G League, that showed me that spacing.
That spacing. Yes.
Oh, I keep forgetting the name of the coach. the coach from Israel, but he's a coach from Maccabi.
Maccabi ou Apoel?
Odeia Katash Apoel. Odeia.
Espera.
Okay,
Apoel.
but is that coach, and he showed me that spacing, those infinity possibilities that you can do with that, and that's what I teach. So we always have that basic game that in all of my set plays, if the player are lost, he can activate that basic spacing, and everybody's going to be on the same page because everybody going to know where um, where they have to be. So after we they all know that basic spacing, everything turns easier because you present set play one, and
In
one
those
guy got
spaces.
the ball, and you ask, and now activate basic, and they activate basic, and it comes naturally the next step, next step, next step, next step.
And that now that you're saying that comes also into the flow of the offense that we were talking about earlier, that it doesn't stop. It creates a flow, a continuity game that for me in today's game, because this is way faster, way stronger. If you don't have a continuity game, if you don't have a flow, when you get the first option A to option B, option C, option D, it gets stuck, and it can't be as aggressive as you may wish or may want to. But you have, and I know this for experience, you have a lot of set plays in your book, a lot of ideas, a lot of things that you want to present, you have to present, but some of them you don't do it, or you choose to present one or two and then trying to understand if they are good or not good. How do you understand if more than just if it gets you points or not gets you points? How do you understand if a play works to have it for the whole season, or if you have to change and try a different thing with the same goals?
You try it. You're practicing. When I want to put an idea, imagine I want to put a staggers for a shooter, set play three. Imagine, hypothetically talking. I start one week, couple of weeks before I present an idea. Imagine that we are practicing, and we are on a five on five situation, and there's a foul. I call the play I call the team that is on office, and I draw in my, how do we say, five
Your
clipboard,
coaching board.
five
Five clipboards.
five clipboard. Try to see if they sponsor me with a clipboard. No, I draw it in my clipboard, um, and I say, "Hey, let's do this, and this," and I see it, and maybe it works a little bit funny. So next day we have another opportunity. I call it again. Hey guys, let's do. Remember the play from yesterday? Yes. So let's try now do this variation because they cut this line of pass, and it becomes. Uh, I'm not teaching them to the players, but they already have it on their mind. It's like ATO players. They plays. I always use it in the practice ATO plays that I know that some point of the season, sometime out, I'm going to use it because it's easier. Um, Even if you don't give a lot of emphasis to the ATO, if you use it a couple of weeks after you use it in the practice, you always remind, hey, remember that set play that we used that somebody got a tree or a back pick and the guy was out, and you draw it, and for them they already have it in their mind. It's not completely new. They already have they already are familiarized
And
with that.
for a guy like you that was a player and that liked to get to receive and give feedback to the coaches, how much of the players are you listening and getting feedback from the players that you get, to if they understand or if they feel that it goes like that, if it doesn't go like that? Because I speak for this season. You have some guys that have a very high IQ in basketball, guys with a lot of experience. Do you get information from them? Because the first thing you told me when we started working 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, was the players play the game, the players know how to do what to do. How much of that information are you taking from the players?
As much as I can, as much as they give it to me. I take all of those. Soon I'm explaining something. practice game timeout in a clipboard, and some plays start with the fingers pointing to the clipboard, I give them the pen for them to draw. Okay,
Even in
and
games.
even in games, and there's a thing that I because I passed that I try to teach my players how to draw in the clipboard, because if you give, I'm going to give you this example. 2 years ago, we were in a I have a very experienced team, and we were in the practice, and the team was losing by two, and I want to win the game, and I said I need a 3 point shot, and the guy said, okay, I can draw it, and I give the pen to the player, and I understand that idea. He had a very good idea, but he couldn't draw it because they don't know that. Imagine that the players in offense are numbers or names, defense are X's or crosses or are you not okay. So I always try to, when somebody is drawing, I always try to teach them how to draw correctly. Because because that's the one thing that I say always. In your mind, what you're drawing is makes sense, but you're not drawing for you. You're drawing for you and to four more guys. So if nobody understands, if the four guys don't understand, it's a bad idea. It's a good idea. Put it in the bad way. So, but that's what I'm telling you. Soon the players start pointing to the clipboard. I give them the pen for them to draw.
No, that's for me. That's a key thing, because not even them understanding what they have to write, but even more when you are writing them or you are telling them what to do in the games, they already know. Okay, this is me. This is that. Okay, now I know this, because they listen and sometimes they don't understand. But in terms of you were saying through whole the conversation, two words that I really like, that is adapt and adjust. Adapt and adjust. And for you as a coach, how much are you adapting and adjusting to this new modern basketball way of playing that is always evolving? Basketball nowadays is always evolving. How much are you still going with your concepts from the beginning, and how much are you willing to adapt and adjust and evolve with the modern this modern way of basketball?
Well, I'm 100% in favor of adapting. There are I see a lot of EuroLeague. Okay, talking about adaptations, because we need to talk about. I need to tell you this. I see a lot of EuroLeague, Euro Cup, Champions League, and zero NBA. Okay, zero. So when I'm talking about modern tendencies, modern adaptations, is about European basketball. Okay, let's clarify that. I'm and I'm willing to adapt to all. This season, it was the first time in my career that we start playing with 5 men out, and I needed to study a lot about. It was by a question of necessity, because one of the inside players came very late and we couldn't practice. If we, I knew he's gonna arrive late, and I knew that we couldn't practice if we playing my regular system of two inside players, not two inside players, one inside player and a four-man that can be open and shooting the ball. So I spend a lot of time in my summer watching 5 men out, 5 men out entrances, continuations, systems, ATOs, and now I'm very very happy that I did that, because we are using it, and we use it sometimes more than my regular sets that I used to play.
Yeah, that's for me. One of the keys here is, like you said, evolving and adapting, but at the same time being able to understand a necessity and go with that, not trying to adapt, because not always you can adapt what you have in your team. You have to adapt your whole program, your whole planning, your whole everything. And for you, it is easy or not that easy to go a little bit too far from your overall idea, and getting uncomfortable in the ways that you have to really learn a new type of game, learn a new type of spacing, learn everything. How difficult or easy for you? I don't know. Was it to relearn it everything?
Okay, it's easy because I only make the I only put the the new idea, or new concept, or new system when I have all of the answers for hypothetically questions that the players is going to put. Because I don't
Hmm.
put nothing in the practice that I'm not knowing. No, imagine I think on a set play or a new system or whatever you want to call it, and that's what happened when I was studying the 5 out. I call a lot of friends that use it, or if they don't use it, what they think, what they experience, what were the questions, and I try to resolve all of the problems, and if I feel 100% comfortable, I present it to the players. If I don't feel comfortable, I'm never going to present something that I don't know the answer, or at
Hmm.
least I don't have an idea, or because sometimes they ask questions that I don't know the answer. Sometimes I need to tell them, hey, let me think. Hey, coach, can we do this? Yes, you can. How are we going to call it? Let me think. A thing that makes sense for you guys. Okay. But the 5 out player system, it took me a while until I understand it, and took me a while switching information with other coaches until I presented to the players. And I asked the players, some import players that I have that I knew from the film that I watched, that they play the 5 out.
Hmm.
I asked them, hey, what was the basic game? What was the continuations? How you activate this option? How so share information with the players, because players sometimes they don't know, but they have a lot of information on them.
Yeah, that's a thing that.
It's the only thing. It's a thing, especially with the imports, because they come from different realities, and everyone come from different coaches and different universities and different guys already with already experienced different teams in Europe. In a first couple of weeks, I always not in a is not in a formal way, but before the practice, after the practice, what you guys used to do in your team,
Mhm.
how the coach present the plays. Do you have a basic game? Do you have small game? Are you guys like to play with advantage? How were the practice? You guys practice every day, morning, afternoon, only morning, only afternoon. How was the practice before the game? I always try to take and have information that can help me as a coach, because I believe that coaches need always to be adaptive.
And the thing that you
And
were talking.
because I call you a lot of times, ask you how you guys do the things over there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And regarding the thing that you were saying in the beginning about getting feedback from yourself in in practice and games as a player, you still do that as a coach? And if yes, how do you do it in regarding of in this subject of team offense? How do you get yourself feedback about the team offense that you are guys playing and the games that you are guys playing?
By taking time after the game to analyze all of my decisions. Okay,
Hmm.
related to the set plays, watching on film. Before you call me, I was watching. I was cutting the last game, and I'm gonna explain you. I have here like a set play. It's a set play that we use, and I wrote here timing. Foreman needs to sprint. Wing needs to stop under the rim, and big man needs to be open before he cuts to the basket. You know. And now
Hmm.
I'm gonna. It was a set play that we used it for the first time. Now I already have it on film. I'm gonna arrive to the practice in a couple of hours. I'm gonna show to the players, and we're gonna work it. We're gonna break the set play in 3 pieces, okay? And we're gonna work all of those timings to be better in the next day.
And what about statistical analytics? Because we don't talk about that often when we are with our chats. Um, but nowadays, everyone has a clipboard in games that they do. Okay, set play one, we got a turnover, a 2 point open, a 2 point contested. We didn't get everything, another turnover. How do you use those analytics, those statistics that you have from every set play that you play, or every possession that you play, to understand what you can use more and what you have to leave out, or you don't use them at all?
No, I use it. It's valid information because sometimes last game I was focused on the new things that we put in a couple of weeks before, and I arrived to the half, and I was thinking that the things were going good, and I arrived to half time, and I asked my assistant coach, tell me the stats from our set plays, and the set play that was working, it was one set play that I don't I didn't set play that was working more was one set play that I was not giving that set play credit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's very important if you can understand it and if you can control it, because
Okay.
when you try to navigate in a game uh, only related on statistics, I think is not you're not doing a good job. Because for me, I'm going to say again, for me, it goes a lot about feelings, what you feel, what you feel about your players, what your players are feeling, more than this is working. Because maybe set play one is not working, and if you change one guy, it's going to give you 10 points in a row,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But
But
it's important, of course.
that feeling that you talked about, and that's something that we talk about a lot. For me, it has to do with all the information that you received as a player, all the the environments that you played with and against as a player and as a coach. And
Yes,
but
and all the time that I spend inside of the floor.
of course, yeah. That's but my question here is for guys like me that he didn't have the gift of putting the ball in the basket and could be a professional basketball player. What can we do to speed up this process of feeling? Because the feeling arrives from passing through those emotions, through those situations, through those games, through those set plays, through those practices. How can we try to get a little trick and speed up these things?
Talk to the players, be a pain in the ass to the players, fill players with questions. Okay, a lot of questions. Because one thing that I notice, uh, and I don't know, I don't know how to put it in the. I'm gonna say directly, coaches that don't play. What I feel is that they have it's not troubles. They feel intimidated by the players, so they don't want to communicate with the players. They don't want the players to know that the coach is asking questions of how to do. And if you create that is not that barreira, como é que se diz barreira?
Barrier, sim, barrier.
Barrier, um, you're never going to grow. You're never going to know what your players are thinking. Why? That's. Um, I try to have the answers. You are my player. You ask me a question, but if I don't know, I'm not going to invent something. I'm not going to give you a quick question. I'm going to say, "Hey, Vasco, I don't know. Let me think, and tomorrow I give you the answer." Because the worst thing you can do is you give the players a wrong answer. If they ask something, that's a good advice that I can give you as a former player. If I ask you something and you give me the wrong answer, I'm going to start not believing in you. But if I ask you something, you are my coach, okay? If I ask you something, because sometimes as a player, I'm going to ask you something that I already know the answer.
Just to check, just to
Yes,
challenge
just
you.
to check or just to know if you know the answer. And if you give me the wrong answer because you are too stubborn or too uncomfortable to admit that you don't know the answer, that you need to think about the answer, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna stop believing in you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I feel about players that coaches that didn't play. They want to maintain that distance from the players because they don't want to feel weak, or they don't know. And man, if they didn't play and they were not inside of the floor, of course there are things that they don't know. They're not going to know. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I know and I can recognize that I'm a lucky one. I'm lucky because sometimes I see a set play we draw, set play that we do, open shot and a guy miss and everybody goes like, oh, how he miss it, man. It's perfectly normal. He miss it.
Mm-hmm.
He miss it. It was a shot, open shot, but he miss it. He did for
Yeah.
sure. He didn't miss it on purpose,
Yeah. That's the
you
thing that
know.
I think.
And even for finish, even when you see a weird shot from a player, believe me that on his mind he's thinking he's gonna make it because I didn't know until now a player that shoot to miss on purpose.
No, and have that. I think that when you play, you understand the moments of the game. You understand when the guy does three shots in a row. That the fourth one, he'll try something crazy. I think
And
that's one the most
you
difficult.
know, and that's the question. You know which player wants the ball
Mm-hmm.
and which player wants to shoot by their body language, by their because you pass as player for that situation the ton of times, and when the coach is drawing, and that's why I always ask when we have last possession, who wants to shoot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because makes no sense. I'm drawing the play for you, and you don't want to shoot the ball. Somebody needs to tell me, and you know that. Sometimes need to tell me. Somebody need to tell me. I want the ball. Okay, we go for we draw the play for you. Last season, I have a guy that was awesome, amazing, guy that scored from everywhere and in every situations that you can imagine. Back to the basket, facing the basket, off dribble, playing pick and roll, not playing pick and roll, running fast break. But on the last possessions, he couldn't shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He could. I could see in his body language that he don't want the ball. So when we have a last possession to win the game, I draw it to another play. And sometimes a lot of people ask me, "Hey, you already have 30 points and you put the ball in the hand of a guy that only have 6?" And I always say, "Yes, I'm crazy."
No, that's no. That's a beautiful insight because that's the things that people from the outside don't understand, and now we can
People
understand a little bit.
imagine people don't understand that a very good 3-point player, 3-point shot player, a guy that shoots 40%, a guy that in the game shoot four from 8 or 6 from 9, or maybe is the worst player to shoot the last ball of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because sometimes he feels he had a lot of pressure. Sometimes he feels that he cannot miss. Sometimes, but you need to know that.
Yes. No, it makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense, and I knew that already because we had a situation, and it's a good story to tell everyone. In Gaia, we had a situation when we had to make a 3-pointer to win, and you
Yes, and
asked
it was
that,
Miguel, the center
and
that
it
said,
was
"I
our
want the ball."
center
Okay,
that
let's
couldn't
go.
shoot, that couldn't shoot for ages, that made the hard shot, and he didn't went in. But that's the main point, that he wanted to shoot, he asked for the ball. So that's, for me, that's the most important thing. And Miguel, for the last question before getting to our corner three, that is our like rapid fire questions, a question from a listening: do you have a go-to play or a go-to call or a go-to concept that you go, in this case, go to when you need it?
Yes,
If you can tell it, you tell it. If you can tell it, you won't tell it, because the scout, because you know that this is a very high demanding podcast, so every scout in
I
Portugal is,
had
is
three
listening.
or four go-to plays. When we're not nothing working, nothing works on the office. I have a central pick and roll play, a side pick and roll play, play that don't require pick and roll, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
a ghost screen uh, to create a switch to attack one against one.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have those four that I can choose quickly. If nothing is working. Another thing that is very important, I want to tell you that is how you communicate, because it's very important, and sometimes coach don't spend a lot of time with that. How you communicate when you create an offense system. Sometimes uh, a bad word or a bad terminology. If you use the
Mm-hmm.
bad terminology, things are not working, and sometimes you said, okay, this set play doesn't work, and you didn't realize that doesn't work because you're saying the wrong words, because a ghost screen that for me was a sleep screen, okay, and now we were doing a set play a couple of weeks ago, and I was asking sleep screen, and
Need the
that
ghost.
thing was not work. And then I called the guy and I said, how do you call? Coach, you call ghost. And I said, okay, let's do it with a ghost screen, and everything changed. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you have middle pick and roll, central pick and roll. You have side pick and roll. How you call the pick and roll between center and side?
Are you asking me?
Yes,
I
it's
don't
a
know.
question.
I don't know.
Huh? Yes, I didn't know too, but I want a pick and roll on that position, and I start saying elbow extended, and they didn't understand. And I
Mm-hmm.
called my point guard and I said, "How you call this? Oh, it's a slot screen," and I already know now it's a slot screen. So the
Always
terminology
learning.
terminology is very important.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a important thing to do. And we had Paul Kelleher a few episodes back walking us through about terminology, communication, and he had the same
Very
insight
important.
that a lot of teams can't get through offense or defensive system because they have too many words, too many things to say, too many things to work on. And I think it correlates a lot with what you did said last time. But now, Miguel, for finishing, we had a last thing that we do every episode is called corner free. The idea is you have three questions and you have to respond as quickly as possible, and if you want to go deeper into that response, you can. If not, we go for another one. So the first question is three qualities of a great coach in your opinion.
Good communicator, good man leader.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we say
Mm-hmm. The leadership
the
skills, yeah, is the same.
leadership skills, and leadership, communication, and empathy.
Empathy. Okay.
Empathy.
Mm-hmm. And if you could give advice to your younger self, it can be your younger self of 5 years when you start coaching, or your younger self of 25 years ago when you were playing. What advice would you give you?
What advice will I give me? Give me. Uh, as a coach, a thing that I learned first 3 years, and it was difficult for me. But then I understand it was like that because I already knew it, but it took me a while to take it as granted. Is that basketball for me is a chaos game, okay, a
Hmm.
controlled chaos game that who control it is the players.
And you got that from coaching the last division of Portugal.
I already knew it. I haven't thinking about that until I became coach, but yes, coaching on the last divisions helped me to learn it quicker.
Hmm. And the last one to finish with: do you have a book or a movie or a sentence or a motivational quote, whatever, that really got you like thinking about something that really changed your life? It can be even when you were playing in Porto and you read a book or you saw a movie that really changed your way of thinking or give you that eureka moment.
Yes, Eureka is the key. Insanity is doing is doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results.
Do you know who
Yes,
say that?
yes. Einstein.
The
Think
great
outside the
Einstein.
box. Okay? That think out let me think outside the box, do things different, don't go like a ship, in a with if everybody if you there's another quote, if you Maria I miss Maria here because Maria is my English teacher, uh, and my doctor too. But first English teacher, because every time, and she's gonna listen this and she's gonna be correcting me like a lot of time. If you hear shoe horses, think zebras.
If you think two horses, think
No,
zebras.
if you hear shoe
Hmm.
horses, think on zebras. Why? Why if you're hearing, if you're not seeing shoe horses,
Ah,
it can
okay,
be
okay, okay.
zebras,
Hmm.
not horses,
So,
because 95% or 99% of the people is going to think horses. You think zebras. Be different than the rest.
no, that's, I think for every young coach or even player that is listening right now, this thing of be different, think different, do different, I think can be like a hardship and thing for life. Because if I'm here now in Italy, it was because mainly when you got to Gaia, that you make me think different, do different, like you did, like you said, you make us work like professionals when we were studying, when we were working another job. So I think that
Let's
that
do
really
scouting.
correlates.
Remember, let's do scouting. Oh, but they never did scouting. Okay, let's start doing scouting. They're gonna do it
I
for the first time. Maybe they like it, maybe they don't like it, but we're gonna do it.
Yeah, it was a fun year. It was a fun year that year. But yeah,
Funny.
Miguel.
That's why with a team that shoot 12% from 3-point line, nobody guard a zone, man. Think difference.
I my. But yeah, Miguel. Really, thank you a lot. Thanks a lot for getting this hour and something of shared experience. I che- also me
Please
that
don't,
talks
Vic.
with you.
We are already two Portuguese guys speaking in English, and now you
I
try
was
to put Italian in the middle.
I'm really sorry for everyone that's listening. No, but I was saying that even if we talk every weekend, we work together, everything, I can always learn a little bit from you, and I want to thank you about that also. Um, and if you have a finishing thing you want to say to everyone that is listening, we close it out, and you can go work and work on that set play that you were talking about.
Oh, the only thing I want to say is that maybe for the coaches that are starting, don't be afraid of doing mistakes. Don't do don't do one thing just because everybody is doing it. Think different. Think outside the box. So usually, when you have a feeling, that feeling is correct. The question is how long you take to put that feel to implement that feeling. You're going to do a lot of mistakes. The problem is not doing a mistake, is how you come out of that mistake, how you learn about that mistake. Be self-critic from your job. Don't think, even when everybody's saying that you're doing everything right, search for things that you can improve. If you are the smartest guy in the room, you are in the wrong room for sure,
Hmm.
because you have nobody to understand, to learn from. um, and just to finish to respond you in the last thing that you said. Maybe you think that you are learning from me, but maybe I'm learning more from you. I give you that idea.
At least Italian you can learn from me. At least that. Now, but
It's
yeah,
just
Miguel.
doing like this.
But yeah, thanks a lot. Another time, and I hope this season can really go your way and Vitoria's way. And we'll talk. We'll talk after. Don't worry. So thanks, Miguel, and see you next time.